listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. So many people have sleep problems today. We're going to talk about sleep from an energy perspective. Difficulty sleeping comes from the energies you are trying to process while sleeping. We'll talk about how to use sleep as a tool to solve problems and to help you evolve and grow. You've never heard these perspectives on sleep before. Stay tuned. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the Ecosystem Approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, let's start at the beginning. What is sleep and how does it work?
Well, it's that's a good question. I don't even know what sleep is, but it's not being here. When we look as intuitives,
correct,
we see that people, when they're sleeping, they're not fully conscious or present. Obviously, that's kind of obvious, but what we see is that they leave their body. But let's go back to the basics. Okay. We see that it's necessary because we're energy beings in a physical body. Now, you've probably heard that before if you know anything about energy, but what's not commonly known is that energy beings are uncomfortable in a physical body.
Oh, trust me, I've been uncomfortable in my physical body more than once. Yes.
And science knows that sleep is restorative and valuable, but it doesn't know why. And we're going to talk about that today. I think that you'll find this a very, very interesting show.
Okay. And
so first, before we get into it, I wanted to talk about, this is, a couple weeks ago, I didn't have these insights. Some of them we did.
Sure.
But what we did was we just focused what we call refined intuition, which is what you get from the ecosystem approach, which is a byproduct of using the ecosystem approach. And your intuition then becomes like a search engine.
Correct.
And so we just focused in on sleep.
And by the way, the search engine works in this dimension and when we go to sleep.
The Google search engine works in the physical dimension,
right,
and our intuitive search engine works in the non-physical dimension.
Correct.
So we were just focusing on sleep and
Correct.
started looking. And you told me that when I first told you about this topic, you said it sounded kind of boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sleepy.
Well,
sleepy
a little.
music.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I have to tell you something. That's not it at all.
So here goes. We see, when we focus our intuition, that sleep is your time to spend with your essence or soul.
Your own essence and soul.
Not someone else's, your own. Okay. Correct. And we use the word essence instead of soul. So just for future reference.
Okay.
But your higher consciousness leaves a basic crew in your physical body. So you continue to sleep and make noises and
breathe, your heart beats and all of that sort of thing. Yes.
Right. And but the part that's really knowledgeable, that higher consciousness that we call,
correct,
is somewhere else, and that's in the non-physical dimension, being with your essence. Now, that's kind of a neat concept, and that's why when people are sleep impaired, they can do basic functions, but they become the more sleep deprived they are, the stupider they become, and the more mistakes they make, and the more difficulty they have just doing day-to-day tasks.
Correct.
So
and sleep deprivation is a real problem. In other words, if you're sleep deprived, you don't want to be getting in a car because your reactions to an action coming at you, so to speak. Yes, I mean that's just an example of why sleep is so important.
Well, and one of the major misconceptions is that sleep dysfunction is physical. So you take a pill, you change your body chemistry,
Okay.
you do all these things to manage so you can sleep.
Correct.
But it's really not about the physical, it's about the energy.
Well, and I'm going to add one thing to that. And I know you have more to say, but I'm going to add one thing. Women over the age of 50, it's kind of a given type thing that we start to have problems sleeping. And most of it has to do with the estrogen leaving our body. But I mean, let me just say, but there are so many things that you can do, especially with the ecosystem approach, that can help you with that, because when you can talk to your essence, when you start to talk to your essence, you can tell your essence so many things that make a difference in your life. And by the way, every single one of us is different. I'm not just talking about men and women different. I'm talking about each and every soul, each and every essence is different.
Well, another way of saying that is the estrogen leaves your body, which science knows that happens.
They know that, yes.
Okay, but why? Why does
because
estrogen?
Because we no longer need the estrogen to produce children.
Yes, but I think there's a higher why, and that's what
I
I want to get to.
I see what you're saying.
So why don't if you have 10 women, do they all lose estrogen at the same rate?
No.
And
No.
do they all do some have real deficiencies and some just barely notice?
True. Right there. That's a true statement.
So that's what we get to.
Yes.
That's what we're looking at.
Yes.
And so let's talk about it. So it's not physical, it's energetic. And most sleep problems have to do with your emotional story.
Right.
Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we say your emotional story is what's happened to you in your life. It's not about what's happened to you, it's how you feel about what's happened to you. And those feelings, those negative feelings can be traumas. Those negative energies are attached to you, and they make your essence dysfunctional. Now, one of the major discoveries that we've made as intuitives, and I'm surprised that this is just generally accepted, but we started looking again, same way we did with sleep.
Correct.
And we found that people come in with 80% of their essence encumbered, blocked,
covered up,
attached to their essence with negative energy.
Correct.
And even people that have achieved greatness have that same 80%. They just rearrange that 20% in a different way.
Yes.
That's amazing to me. And that tells me that in general, for all of us, our essence, our soul is dysfunctional. So most of the time that we spend sleeping is our essence trying to heal itself.
Correct.
When we take that those energies of higher consciousness and go back and sleep and go to our essence, we're trying to get rid of that negative energy. So the ecosystem approach helps you remove that negative energy. It's a part of what we do.
Well, and one of the things that I noticed is that when I started removing the 80%, that I was sleeping better, and I do sleep better. And in fact, we were just discussing right before the show how much my sleep has actually changed. And we're going to talk more about that in the second segment, I believe. But the difference is, yes, my sleep has changed, but I'm also better when I wake up.
Well, and we're more conscious about what we're doing, both while we're awake and even while we're sleeping.
Correct.
So as we start removing that negative energy, and it's part of our emotional story, it's part of the trauma that we carry from lifetime to lifetime.
Yes.
Your essence has less to do, so to speak. And sometimes
not mine, but that's okay.
There's still a lot to do.
Yes,
80% is a lot.
Yes.
And the longer we've been doing this over 20 years. It's probably like it's closer to 23, 24, 25 now.
Correct.
And we see in hindsight where we've come, and it's huge. But we also see that we have a long ways to go. 80% is a lot. And if you think our world is really dysfunctional right now, that's why.
Yes.
Because most of us, all this negative energy is attached to people.
And number one, most of us don't even know it's there. And the other thing is that even when we realize that it's there, We don't know what to do with it, how to handle it
Right.
is what I'm saying.
Right. So most people struggle to sleep, have no
Yes.
idea what's going on in their consciousness while they sleep.
Correct.
Here's the thing. Programming, which is to tells you how to think, feel, do this, these recipes, do this, do that, and everything's going to be okay,
Well,
really ignores your essence. It doesn't say, what should I do? How do I feel about what I'm supposed to do?
Yes.
It just says, do this and don't care about how you feel.
And I want to interject this. Programming basically says about sleeping, everybody needs 8 hours of sleep. Well, I'm here to say that's not quite a true statement, because some people need 6. Some people, like my mother-in-law, who's 92, that lives with us, she needs like 10 hours of sleep a night. And when she doesn't get it, for lack of a better way to say it, she walks around stupid. And and she really has a hard time. She needs that sleep. And some people say, yes, the older you get, but I've also known people that the older they get, they don't need as much sleep.
Well, and that's true. So programming is one size fits all, and that's we never like that.
No.
But basically, what programming does is says act this way, but your essence is trying to tell you how to act based on who you are uniquely.
Correct.
That's where the power is.
Exactly.
And so it's at odds with good sleeping, because during the day you're ignoring your essence. When the essence says, hey, help me, I'm working really hard at night trying to get rid of this negative energy for you, and it's not working.
So, Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
Sleep is necessary because we are energy beings in a physical body, and it's hard on your essence. Sleep is your time to work within your essence. The more conscious you are, the more productive you are. Sleep problems are not physical, they're energy problems. And most are dealing with that negative 80% that's attached to your soul.
Correct.
The ecosystem approach helps you to have evolved consciousness to help you understand what's going on while you sleep.
In the next segment, we're going to talk about how you can solve problems, deal with night terrors, and use sleep to help you evolve. Wow. Okay. This comes from using refined intuition to understand sleep better. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about how you can solve problems, deal with night terrors, and use sleep to help you evolve. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the Ecosystem Approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, let's start with night terrors. What are they and how do they happen?
Well, I know for me, I had a pattern of yelling and fighting in my sleep. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute.
Yes.
But night terrors, nightmares, disturbed sleep come from negative energy that are connected to your emotional story. In other words, they're not out in left field. They have something to do with who you are.
Correct.
And how you grew up, and even perhaps a past life, that sort of thing.
Yes.
When children and babies, I don't know babies, but children have nightmares or bad dreams.
Yes.
That's chances are it's from past lives.
Right.
Or even worries and anxieties that they have that are attached to them that are part of that 80%.
Correct.
They don't, and they're not just out in nowhere. They come from someplace that's unique to that person.
Correct.
So I know for me, I used to, when we first met, I would be yelling and screaming in the middle of the night, and you would wake me up, and I could feel the fear. I could feel the
terror,
fight,
the terror.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, I'm an Enneagram 6. So if you know anything about the Enneagram, and that we use that as a tool, that 6s have fears and insecurities.
Yeah, it's part of their base.
So we've been doing this for 20 years. My fears and insecurities are not anywhere close to what they used to be.
Exactly.
I don't have what I would call a night terror,
But in the beginning, I would have called it truly a night terror.
Sure. And so, while this was happening, you started to say, okay, there's enough of this.
Well, and I let me just say this: when somebody you wake up, somebody next to you is yelling and screaming, it makes your heart beat.
It's disconcerting.
It's very disconcerting, and it's really scary. And and then when you realize what's going on, okay, then you can take care of it. The point that we're making here is that this had been happening for a good 6 months, maybe even a year, and sometimes it would be once a week, sometimes it'd be once a month, that kind of thing. And I'd had enough of being woken up. We'll talk about me when I used to wake up, would not be a happy camper. And so I said to Jason, the next time this happens, and he kind of looked at me like, you're expecting more. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to follow whatever this energy is, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it, because it's really disruptive. It doesn't make for good sleep at all. So about a week later, sure enough, there it was again. And so I warned this energy, and I said, hey, I'm following you. Expect me to be there. I followed this energy, and what we found was something that had been attached to his father, who has been a
difficult person to deal with forever.
Yes, we'll say it that way. I wasn't going to be that nice, but anyway, his father sent this entity to poke and harass and basically belittle Jason for breathing. And that was it. I warned this entity, you do this again, and I will take you out. And so the entity actually got it. It was a good 3, maybe even 6 months before it happened again.
And not to say that you're not scary when you warn entities, but for the most part, what we did was clear it.
And exactly, that's what I was going to say. And we cleared your attachments to it, because when something comes from a parent and you don't know its motive, automatically we think, well, it's supposed to be there because my parent says so.
And we've been uncovering the motives of my parents and how that has to do with my emotional story.
Correct.
Since for these 20 years. So we understood it really well.
Yes.
And we're giving you the cliff notes right now. So it's not all the detail.
Yes.
But we were able to uncover it, and slowly but surely it started to subside. And it was different. And now every once in a while it happens, but it's very rare.
And it's also the volume of it, so to speak, or the amount of it is less than a 32nd of what it used to be.
And I remember the last time I woke up with this, I was thinking to myself, he tricked me.
Again.
He made me yell at that. That was just stupid. There's nothing even to be afraid of there. There's nothing there,
Yes.
So and it's becoming less and less, obviously over these 20 years.
Yes.
But it's been a big deal. So we talked about me. Okay. Let's talk about her. This is even more fun. So she didn't have night terrors. You've never heard night terrors.
Not to my knowledge. No, I never have.
But she's always had a hard time sleeping. A light sleeper, and
because of my story.
Yes, because of your story. And I think the part of that that's interesting is that you had a mentally disabled sister who was the mental age about 3 years old, but she used to have seizures in the middle of the night.
Right.
And then they'd have to call the fire department, and everybody would be in the house, and it would be all this chaos
and disrupting and that sort of thing.
Terror, literally, for a little kid.
And I remember my heart beating, and when I got old enough to be able to understand how to dial, and by the way, that shows my age, dial a phone. I would, that was part of my job. I would dial the fire department, and the operators, people would keep their jobs forever. She would know exactly who I was. And she even learned my name, and she would make me stay on the line until she got a hold of the fire department. And then she would say to me, tell me when you can hear the fire department coming.
Yeah.
And, that kind of thing.
The point is that it's very traumatic.
It was very traumatic, especially for a little kid that was about 4.
So one day when it was her birthday, and
I forgot.
And I got up early, and it was her birthday morning, and she was still sleeping, and I got her this big, huge, it was about 4 feet high,
Yes, right.
life-size
Sylvester the cat,
Sylvester the cat.
stuffed
So
animal.
yes, and we have this big it's a sleigh bed. It's kind of high.
Yeah.
So I was crouched down behind Sylvester, and I was going like this and
Singing happy birthday.
And she wakes up, and she's, it was
I'm laughing because it was to me, it was
poor
oh,
Sylvester.
but-
She punched it. It wasn't just, that's how so sweet.
oh,
She-
thanks, sweetie.
she-
Who are you?
she goes,
Oh no,
"Ah!"
man.
she
And
goes,
I just
swinging.
swinging at that poor stuffed animal. And he did not expect it, of course. And then the next thing I see is his face. Had it been him that had done that, meaning not being him being where Sylvester was, he would have definitely had a broken nose. That's how hard I punched.
because of the fear. And we've been clearing the fear that
Yes, we have.
that she had about, going to sleep and being asleep.
And
I
being
think,
woken up.
I
Yes.
think that's one of the reasons why you're such a light sleeper, is because of that
Yes.
terror that you had
Oh,
as a child.
Absolutely.
It's also because of your astrology, because you're
Mm,
Libra, Gemini, Libra,
Right.
all air. So it's air doesn't sleep.
it
it's
moves
constantly
all the
moving.
time.
Yes.
And anybody that knows me knows I am moving nonstop. And obviously for 24 hours, I am moving all the time.
so
It's quite something.
so we've really worked on that, and
Yes,
it's
and
made a huge difference.
Calm down.
Here's the thing. Programming, again, this is the go-to, the how-to for self-improvement in the world today. They tell you how to think, feel this way, think this way,
Do this formula.
make yourself feel this way.
Yes.
And they may not say make, but the
It's
implication
implied.
is that you will force yourself to think this way, do these things,
Mhm.
act this way, which is a way of controlling how you feel.
Right.
It really puts it's very disrespectful to, that's a mild way of putting it.
Mhm.
It ignores your essence, because your essence is there to give you guidance,
Mhm.
to help you, to tell you what you like and what you don't like. If we were working from essence, so many people would know exactly what they want to do
Needed.
for work, who
Exactly.
they want to be married to, what their major decisions in their life should be.
Correct.
But right now we're taught to go to some expert, to read a book, to go online and say, okay, what do you do about this, or what do you do about that?
Or do this formula and you'll get this result.
And that's not necessarily true for you. It might be true for this person, but it's not true for the other person. So
Exactly.
programming really affects that negative energy that's attached in your essence, and it doesn't help get rid of it. We're
Exactly.
constantly helping you get rid of that negative energy. And what happens is that you have these authentic abilities, potential. We say that, the ecosystem approach helps you have to get your unlimited potential to come forward.
And
Programming doesn't do that. It does just the
no,
opposite.
exactly. And it's awesome. The things, when you start using the ecosystem approach and doing the clearing, it's awesome. The results that you get, some are almost immediate, and some, of course, do take time. But the bottom line is that you get to see yourself from a different perspective. And I have never seen anyone who did not like themselves, because often they'll say, I'm not sure I'm going to like myself, but they do. It's awesome. So, Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
Disturbed sleeps comes from processing negative energies in your life.
Mhm.
Programming makes you unconscious about those energy forces affecting you, especially while you sleep. You have no idea what's going on.
Right.
Problem solving happens as a natural effect. Using the ecosystem approach is more effective while sleeping.
And we didn't actually talk about
We
that.
need to talk about that in the next segment.
All right.
And the ecosystem approach is designed to teach you to be more conscious about energy affecting you, especially while sleeping.
I love that. All right. In the next segment, we're going to talk about how to set yourself up for good sleep every night and be more conscious about your sleep and what happens while you sleep. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about how to set yourself up for a good sleep every night and be more conscious about your sleep and about what happens while you sleep. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the ecosystem approach for you, which is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored. So important instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery. By the way, I think that's fantastic and fun. That is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Okay, Jason, explain how you can be more conscious about your sleep patterns and what happens while you're sleeping.
Well, of course, it's understanding that is an extension of what we do with the ecosystem approach.
Okay.
So it's a natural byproduct of implementing the ecosystem approach in your life.
Okay.
And you can become naturally more conscious about your own story, the energies that affect you on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
and what your essence is doing right now. And of course, then by extension, what happens while you're asleep.
Yes.
But one of the things we didn't talk about in the last segment, which we were going to, is about how to problem solve.
Okay.
So typically, for me, the way I do it is using.
And remember, we're all different.
But this is sort of the basics for the ecosystem approach.
Okay.
If I have a problem, I clear the things that are blocking me from seeing the solution.
Yes.
And I clear them, and then at some point, I just go to bed.
Right.
You know, it's not like I'm doing it consistently all day, but I'll be focused on a problem and I'll clear the things that are in my way.
Right.
And if I don't have an answer, I just go to sleep. And then a lot of times I wake up and I just know.
Well, I would say about 98% of the time,
I just know. And
what I've seen.
And it's not like I get this vision while I sleep.
It's not like you're going, oh,
yeah,
no,
exactly.
You're not doing that.
I just know. It's just there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of times, for me, when I know my consciousness goes to a higher plane, is working with my essence, I get fluff dreams,
Right.
stupid things, things that don't make sense, little bits and pieces here and bits and pieces here.
Right.
And it just, I know it's fluff. I don't try and interpret it. We don't really do a lot of dream interpretation because
I do a little bit, but not,
for me, you don't, the more conscious you are using the ecosystem approach,
you need less interpretation
because you already know it. You don't have to go to sleep to know the answers. They're coming to you all the time.
Correct.
Because that's how your essence is designed.
Yes.
Organically. That's how human beings are designed.
Mm-hmm.
That we clear the energy, so we just get those solutions to the problems.
Correct.
Of daily living.
Exactly.
Well,
and I do it a little bit different.
Okay.
If I can jump in here, I do it a little bit different. Yes, both Jason and I clear on and off all day. It's become part of our lives. And if I have a problem, one of the things that I do is I will, right before I go to bed, I will stand, I will ground myself because I feel very safe while using life force energy. And I will ground myself all the way through from above my head to the center of the earth. And then I will start removing things such as I'm angry about this, or I'm hurt about that. I'm confused about this, that kind of thing. And I'll spend anywhere from 5 to sometimes even 10 minutes doing this, and the dogs of course watch me, which is really kind of funny. And but I oftentimes, if I have a problem, I will clear the blocks so I can have clarity about it. And the number one thing that is so special about it is I will wake up the next morning and I will just have a knowing very similar to his, even though we do it a little bit different, very similar to his, that says, okay, you know what the answer to this is, or you're going to figure this out today. Now, when I get up in the morning, my feet hit the floor and I'm doing coffee, I'm doing dog food, I'm doing all of these things. And while I'm doing those things, I'm thinking about where I'm at now oftentimes compared to where I was before I went to bed. And there often is a real difference.
So that's not only your problem solving method, but it's also the way you have like a little ritual that you do before bed.
I do.
And I'm a little different.
Right.
I'll be talking to my essence all day long, not from my ego perspective, which is do this, do this, do this. It's
Right.
not from a arrogant, your essence is not subordinate to you. Your essence is the most lofty part of you,
Yes.
and it's a relationship that's positive. It's a relationship that said, okay, I need to do this. What do I need to clear to get that sort of thing.
Correct.
But you know, we always joke because Patricia did some playlists so we could play music
Yeah.
before bed, and I said, how come you only put one song on the playlist? And that's because we were joking about it's because I hit I put my head on the pillow and I'm gone.
And by the way, he rarely even hears the last note of that song.
So I don't have problems going to sleep. And in the middle of the night, we're always got our ear open for mom because we don't know where she's walking and what she's falling down or whatever. So
and we've dealt with all of it in the middle of the night.
So I'm usually the first one to pop up and go and check on her, but then I come back, I'm right back asleep again. So
and
it's
then
not a
there's
problem.
me.
If she wakes up in the middle of the night, it's harder for her to go back.
It is. But one of the things that I found is that if I clear in the middle of the night, clear the blocks that are keeping me from sleeping, any fear of going back to sleep or fear of not going back to sleep, those are the things. And then the next thing I know, it's morning.
So self-knowledge can really help you understand your sleep patterns better.
Yes.
Your astrology, your Enneagram type.
Yes.
Patricia we talked about air, she has Libra, Gemini, Libra. It makes sense that she's a light sleeper and she wakes up and then she has a hard time going back to sleep.
Right.
Signs ruled by Mercury, which is the closest planet to the sun. If Mercury were ever to stop, which is kind of ridiculous, it's in an orbit, but if it ever were to stop, it would burn up because it's so close to the sun.
Correct.
So people that are Virgos, Virgo rules Mercury, or Mercury rules Virgo, and Mercury rules Gemini.
Right.
You have a lot of Gemini in your chart also. So people have a hard time. People that are ruled by the moon, that's Cancer, sign of Cancer. That's a very fast moving. It's not really a planet. It's a celestial body that goes around the earth once every 30 days, also faster moving.
Right.
That can affect your sleep, your moods, your sleep. Maybe you're having, depressed all of a sudden, or you're crying all of a sudden. That can make it harder to sleep.
Correct.
All those things affect it. Here's the trap. Be careful of black and white thinking. Don't make rules. Everybody's different.
Yes.
Patricia's different than me. We're all different. I don't normally do dream analysis because, if it's not obvious why you're conscious, clear some more so you can you understand.
Yes.
And your essence will talk to you while you're awake and while you're sleeping. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
And the more you clear, the more you have that direct communication with that.
Exactly. And have better clarity about that communication, which is great.
Yeah.
So are we gonna we're gonna do key points, and then we're gonna talk about how to clear. So here we go. Jason, what are the key points?
Understanding your sleep comes from using the ecosystem approach. Knowing your emotional story, your Enneagram type, all is very helpful. The energies affecting your daily life will also affect your sleep. They're not separate. If you were angry because you got caught in traffic, clear the anger that made you that you got the anger and frustration about being caught in traffic.
Right.
Use bedtime to talk to your essence, and even when you wake up, to connect and regroup.
Yeah. And it works.
With programming, you never talk to your essence. It's not even relevant. We do it all the time.
Exactly.
And we should actually have a show about that. Anyway,
that would be a good one, huh?
Yeah. The ecosystem approach teaches you how to have an energy approach to life that includes using sleep to your best advantage.
Right. I love that. So we're gonna teach everyone. For those who already know, just follow along as usual. But for those of you who don't know and have never used the clearing or the ecosystem approach, this is how we do it. Jason has one part of it. I have the other part. And because we work as a team, and I need to say this works. We've been doing it for more than 20 years, and this works. If there's a problem, even if there's not a problem, the ecosystem approach will make a difference in your life.
Yes.
Okay. So Jason, go ahead.
Here we go. Again, you don't have to you don't have to be in a specific posture. You can sit, stand, walk, lay down.
Mhm.
You can be on your head. You can, it doesn't matter.
If you're driving, don't close your eyes.
Yes, that sort of thing.
That kind of thing.
But so when we say to eliminate, just in your mind's eye, in your imagination, gather that all up in your body and blow it into the processor.
And I'm putting a picture up of the processor. Wait, here we go. Right here. And you're going to put that negative energy right in here in the top.
Yes.
And I hope that that's close enough to be able to see it. And the processor works. And if you can't see it, or you don't know what the processor looks like, use a garbage can.
Well, the most important thing, if you go to our website,
There you go.
theecosystemapproach.org, sign up for our free section,
Mhm.
you can download a picture of the processor and print it out and
Exactly.
make it, put it on your desk.
Okay.
But,
go ahead.
So go ahead with.
And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to activate life force energy. Life force energy is the most powerful energy that any of us has access to, and anywhere in the universe that we live in. And that life force energy, we're going to call it in. We're going to pull it in through the top of our head, make it go all the way to the tips of our toes. We're going to stop it right there. We're going to ask it to turn around and help us remove negative energy that is left over, because there is so much negative energy everywhere. And in the next segment, we're going to do all this. So first off, stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to help you clear so you can be more conscious about your sleep and what happens while you're sleeping. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. In this segment, we're going to help you clear so you can be more conscious about your sleep and what happens while you're sleeping. And remember, everyone, you can go to the website. And Jason, what is the website?
Theecosystemapproach.org, and sign up for our free section, and you can get a picture of this
right
the
here.
Processor. This actually exists in the non-physical dimension.
Yes.
We'll talk about that some other time, but
exactly. And you're going to put the negative energy here in the top. And if you can't go there right at the moment, use a garbage can. Whatever goes in the garbage can is not going to come back out. But put that negative energy in something. Don't just throw it on the ground. You don't want to get up and walk back into it.
So here we go. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the barriers, so I can see that we are energy beings in a physical body, and the energy part struggles to be in the physical dimension.
Take a nice breath. And any negative energy, blow it into the processor. I'm going to shorten it just a little bit, and to eliminate the barrier so I can see that my essence is not comfortable in a physical body. Therefore, I need to sleep. Take a nice breath. All that negative energy that's blocking you from sleeping, right in there.
And to eliminate the intense feelings of worry, anxiety, and stress that I have that could be processed while I sleep. Let's take it right now and put it in the processor, so you don't have to do it while you sleep.
Exactly. Although I find myself sometimes waking up in the middle of the night going, because I'm removing something, and I just, keep on going. And to eliminate any feelings of fear, hurt, and shame that comes out as nightmares and sleep disturbances in some way. I don't need that. I've got other things to do with my life instead of fighting with something like that. Take a nice breath and throw it into that processor.
And to eliminate the barriers, so I can see that I'm constantly processing dark and negative energies while I sleep.
Yes, take a breath. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that programming forces me to process all my dark negative energy while I'm sleeping.
Because you're not doing it during the day.
Exactly. And I was going to say,
if you're not using the ecosystem approach, you're not
doing it at all. Yes, exactly. Use the ecosystem approach, everybody. Take a breath and throw that negative energy away. You don't need it.
And to eliminate my feelings of fear and terror that I have that will be processed while I sleep.
Yeah.
Let's start clearing them now.
Yes. And to eliminate the intense anger or resentment I have that gets worse if I'm not sleeping. Take a breath. Easy on yourself on this one. Blow it out.
And to eliminate any resistance I have to seeing that programming creates more work to process negative energy while I'm sleeping.
Yes.
Take a breath.
You ever wake up in the middle of the night, or not in the middle of the night, but in the morning, and you're more tired in a way than you were when you went to sleep? And it's because you're just processing stuff over and over again. Most of it is negative energy. You don't have to do that. Get rid of that negative energy before you go to sleep, and then tell yourself to clear it while you're sleeping. Take a breath. And to eliminate any resistance I have to seeing that programming creates more work to process negative energy while I'm sleeping. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that self-knowledge, your enneagram type, and astrology all affect my sleep.
Yes.
So knowing those things, which is part of
your story,
and using the ecosystem approach is really valuable.
Take a breath. And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that implementing the ecosystem approach makes sleep easier. And I'm here to tell you that's the truth. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that dark energy loves to attack while sleeping because you're not conscious. You don't have those conscious ways of
protecting yourself.
Yes. And so in the morning, if you got attacked, figure out what it is, keep clearing so you can see what it is and clear it.
Yes, I love it. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that sleep is a great way to solve problems by using my essence as an advisor and consultant that knows what's best for me uniquely. I love that one, Jason. That was a great one. Take a breath. Should we activate some life force? Here we go. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force. Remember, pull it in through the top of your head, let it go all the way down your body so I can be happy and healthy, aware and conscious, not only during the day, but while I'm sleeping at night for what's in my highest and best interest. Take a breath, everyone, through the top of your head, tips of your toes, and any negative energy, blow it out. Jason?
And to activate life force so I can have hope to heal my life with good sleep and conscious clearing constantly.
I love it. Take a breath. And to activate life force so I can trust and understand that I'm connecting with my essence while sleeping in the best way. Take a breath, easy through the top of your head and blow it out. Negative energy.
And to activate life force so I can decide to focus my attention on removing negative energy during the day and while I'm sleeping.
Love it.
In the best way possible for me.
Take a breath. Throw any negative energy out. You don't need it. And the last one, and to activate life force so I can be happy and healthy, have great health, and be objective and have laughter and love and fun, learn to love myself, learn to love others, and learn how to deal with negative energy in the highest and best interest, starting with me and then for everyone around me, starting right now today. Take a nice breath, life force energy in, and blow out any negative energy left over. Jason, what are we going to talk about next week?
My favorite commercial on TV today is turning into your parents. And next week we're going to talk about turning into your parents. And most people that we've talked to over the years say, "No, I'm never going to turn into my parents."
And how many of them?
And then they do.
Yes.
And most of it's unconscious, and the worst traits that you're trying to avoid are the ones that usually come and get you. We'll tell you how to deal with that and how to overcome it.
Exactly.
So did today's show touch you in some way to say, "Oh my gosh, this is for me. This clearing thing, this ecosystem approach, I need to work on my sleep. I need to work on all these other things." Mm-hmm. It's an energy approach to life, really. Yes. So, this is how you can get started.
Well, I was just going to say, Jason, how can I and the audience get started using the ecosystem approach?
Listen to our show every week.
Okay.
It's at, we're going to talk about when the time is. Go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org. When you sign up for our free section, you get a weekly newsletter that not only has a little bit about the show, but there's all the clearings are there, and the picture of the processor is there. It tells you the words to say exactly, so you can read them out. And clearing is cumulative. The more you do it, the better off you are.
Right.
When you listen to our show every week and do the clearings at the end, this is going to help you every single week.
Well, and anyone who's listening, anybody who doesn't want to have a better life, if you think your life is perfect, then this comment isn't for you. But the bottom line is that the ecosystem approach made such a huge difference in my life that I recommend it to every single person out there. Jason, what about Facebook?
You can go to Facebook. Our Facebook address is theecosystemapproach.org on Facebook, and all of our videos are there. You can listen to the recorded versions, and please like us while you're there. We would really appreciate that.
Okay, we'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.